When a loved one goes missing, family and friends scramble to find any clues leading to their whereabouts, and often the last time that we'll hear the voice of the missing person is thanks to a voicemail left before they vanish into thin air. Number 5. On a sunny and near cloudless day in January of 2007, software designer and researcher Jim Gray was boarding his 40-foot fiberglass cruiser, which he dubbed Tenacious, sailing through Gashouse Cove in San Francisco Bay, en route to the Farallon Islands, where he decided to scatter his mother's ashes after she died in October the year before. The water was flat, the wind was in his favor, and it looked like the perfect day for sailing. At about 10:30 a.m., he called his wife, Donna Carnes, saying that he was nearing a buoy marker that was 15 miles offshore. She reminded him to wear his harness as there is a danger of drowning should a wave knock him overboard, and he assured her that he was indeed wearing it, and that he would contact her again once he was back in range. Just a few minutes later, he left a voicemail on his daughter Heather's phone, sounding very positive and relaxed. He said that he was taking Granny out to her final resting place, that it was a little bit cloudy and that he was surrounded by dolphins but didn't see any whales. At about 10:50 a.m., his phone pinged a tower south of San Francisco as it synced with Microsoft's email server. About 2 hours later, a man named Brett HARTL noticed his boat sailing north of the southeast area of the Farallon Islands. Then, Jim mysteriously vanished along with his boat. What made it even stranger is that there was no Mayday distress call to the Coast Guard, and the emergency position indicating radio beacon that was installed on his boat never sent out a signal, as it was designed to do in the event that it sinks. Furthermore, no debris from his boat or any of the equipment on board was ever found or washed up on any of the local beaches. The Coast Guard launched a 4-day search using boats, planes, and helicopters, and the Digital Globe satellite scanned the area, but with no results. Gray's friends and colleagues scoured the images taken by the satellite for clues, but he remains missing and no clue of his whereabouts has ever been found. Number 4. On November 16, 2011, Michelle Parker appeared on the controversial courtroom show The People's Court with her ex-fiancé Dale Smith, who was suing her after she'd thrown her $5,000 engagement ring at him, losing it in the process. Here, the court heard that the couple's relationship was a tumultuous one, with Parker filing for a restraining order against Smith in 2009. In this report, Michelle stated that he'd smashed the passenger side window of her SUV, took the seats out and threw them in the road, yelling at her that her day will come. On the People's Court, she stated that she was a vindictive and malicious individual who became especially mean when he'd been drinking. Her restraining order was, however, denied as there was a lack of evidence to her claims. A friend of Michelle's, Angela Launer, has stated that she knows that Smith hurt Parker on multiple occasions, dropping her off in isolated areas with no shoes and leaving her in Georgia by herself once. Then on November 17th, the day after appearing on the show, Michelle was dropping off her 3-year-old twins at Smith's house, but she's been missing ever since. Shortly before her disappearance, she left a voicemail for her father, in which she asked him to call her when he's on his lunch break, or when he's done with his workday. Her father later stated that he was supposed to meet up with her the following day. On Thanksgiving, about 50 volunteers joined a search for Parker, covering a 2-mile radius, starting at the last tower that her phone pinged from. Her mother said that she knew in her heart that she'd been carjacked by people who mistakenly thought that she had money, due to her driving an expensive car, but that she firmly believed she was still alive. Number 3. Kelly Brannon was by all accounts a free-spirited musician and activist who lived her life by her own rules and was known to go off the grid every now and then. But although she had a tendency to go off on her own, she always kept in touch, especially with her mother. Kelly lived on a farm in Florida with her boyfriend Eddie Emerson. On July 9, 2020, the couple decided to go on a road trip, loading their guitars, Eddie's dog, and 8 chickens they were transporting north, into a Toyota Camry and Eddie's pickup truck, heading out on the I-75. Just over 75 miles into the trip, however, Eddie's truck broke down due to an overheated transmission, and they had it towed to a shop in Suwannee County. They then decided that they would camp in the area while the work was being done on the vehicle, and this took longer than expected, so they decided to get a hotel room instead. During check-in at the hotel, they got into an argument over where the chickens would be kept during their stay. with Eddie wanting to keep them in the shade outside, since they already had the dog with them as well, but Kelly wanted to keep the chickens in the room with them. The argument got heated, and Kelly decided to leave while Eddie set the chickens up outside. Once he got back to the room, the couple continued to argue via text messages. But she soon returned with pizza and wine, calming down once she saw the chickens were fine outside. During the course of the evening, however, a few of the chickens escaped, sparking the argument up once more. After unsuccessfully trying to catch the chickens, Eddie returned to the room to sleep, continuing to receive angry texts from Kelly, who'd been outside the hotel, drinking and crying. He then took her keys so she couldn't drive and returned to the room. She texted him once again, saying that she was taking her guitar and clothes with her after refusing to go back to the room, but Eddie fell asleep, something he regrets to this day. The following morning, he awoke to find a voicemail from Kelly in which she stated she'd booked into the Sunshine Inn. The voicemail ends with Kelly saying that she's getting into a car. On July 15th, Eddie filed a missing persons report with Live Oak Police Department, stating that her phone had been off since that day. A search was conducted of the wooded areas around the hotel, and witnesses reported seeing Kelly outside the motel around the same time she left the voicemail to Eddie. A Facebook page called Missing Kelly Brandon was created to try to generate leads, but Kelly has not been found for 8 months since her disappearance. Number 2. On the 5th of February, 2004, Mara Murray phoned her older sister Kathleen to discuss problems that Kathleen had been having with her fiancé. At around 10:30 p.m., Mara was reportedly found by her supervisor in tears at her desk while on her shift as a campus security guard. She was completely unresponsive, and her supervisor escorted her back to her dorm room. Upon asking why she was in such a state, she only replied with the words, "My sister." Kathleen would later reveal that during the phone call, she had told Mara that she'd been discharged from a rehab facility where she'd been receiving treatment for alcoholism. Her fiancé then took her to a liquor store, which caused her to have an emotional breakdown. In the early hours of February 9th, Mara did a search on her PC on MapQuest, looking for directions to the Berkshires and Burlington in Vermont. Then at 1 p.m., she emailed her boyfriend saying that she didn't feel like talking, but that she would call him later that day. She then made a call in which she asked about renting a condo at the New Hampshire Condo Association, which her family had previously used when vacationing. She did not rent a condo though. At 1:24 p.m., she emailed a supervisor at work explaining that she wouldn't be going into work for the next week since there was a death in the family, something that hadn't actually happened. At 2:05 p.m., she made a phone call in which she inquired about booking a hotel in STOWE, Vermont, and 13 minutes later left a voicemail on her boyfriend's phone in which she promised to talk to him later. Neither Mara's family nor her boyfriend has seen her since, but her car was found packed with clothes, textbooks, birth control pills, and toiletries. Most of her belongings in her dorm room had been packed into boxes. A printed email was found on top of the boxes addressed to her boyfriend, describing that their relationship was in trouble. At around 3:30 p.m., she left campus in her car and made a withdrawal of $280 at an ATM with CCTV footage showing her alone at the time, and again at a liquor store where she bought $40 worth of alcohol. At around 7 p.m., Mara crashed into a snowbank along Route 112. A resident called 911, and a neighbor then spotted her next to the car, shivering but appearing uninjured. When police arrived, Mara was nowhere to be found. There have been a multitude of reported sightings of Mara since, but she has never been located. Number 1. On March 4th, 2012, Colin Gillis celebrated his 18th birthday. He finished his college classes at the State University of New York at Brockport on the 9th and made his way to his family home in Tupper Lake. He spent the day with his parents on the 11th and later that evening headed out, first visiting friends that lived down the street and then traveling to a party about 5 miles away. At the party, a physical altercation broke out between some of the guests and Colin's friends decided to leave. Colin refused to join them as he was having a good time, and they left him, not quite understanding why he was so adamant about staying behind. He would later leave numerous voicemails with friends requesting a ride home. It's believed that he then left the party on foot at around 1 a.m., walking up a nearby road that had a steep incline, no streetlights, and no sidewalks, making it difficult to walk at night. Reaching the end of the road, he should have turned right towards his home, but instead he turned left towards Piercefield. A man named Rich Rossentretter spotted Colin walking down the road not wearing a jacket, despite the freezing conditions. He drove 4 miles to Tupper Lake Police Station where he reported what he had seen. A state trooper patrolled the area but didn't see anyone walking on that road. Colin twice declined a ride from Austin TOOHEY, saying that he was waiting for a friend to pick him up. When his parents hadn't heard from him by the following afternoon, they tried to contact him by phone multiple times, but with no luck. They reported him missing and a massive search effort was started by police and hundreds of members of the public. Colin's tobacco pipe and his driver's license were found where Rossentretter had spotted him, but despite a $25,000 reward being offered for any information on his whereabouts, Colin remains missing 9 years later. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knots, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.